Isabel from Autism Untouched. I want to make a video. This is for parents of autistic kids, but also for people in general that are maybe working with autistic kids or have autistic kids in their families. I want you to stop the shaming of these kids and let us create a community and society where autistic kids are accepted and where they are celebrated, not tolerated. I have just thought about this when I fetched my son at school this afternoon, and sometimes I know in his class there's kids that have got other issues apart from autism, some neurological issues, and so they do have a few more challenges. And I often look at the way a lot of people expect these kids to do everything that a neurotypical child does, and act like a neurotypical child. It seems sometimes to me, and again, I never want my videos to be about bashing, but it's something I feel passionate about, that we should speak out about it, that we should make people aware of it and say it and put it out in the open. I was just thinking when I watched this one boy in my son's class, and I was thinking, I understand exactly how his brain works and how he feels. I can see how he feels. I can see his feelings in his eyes and on his face because I've been around autistic kids so long. And by now I know that a lot of them are displaying behavior not because they are naughty or because they are being disobedient. It's because they feel overwhelmed, or they feel not being listened to. They feel ignored and they feel violated. And I in my heart sometimes I wish I can say something in these situations without offending anybody. But these days in our society, people are so sensitive, and sensitive to this in the sense that they want to express their opinion, and you are not allowed to express your opinion. If you say something that they don't like, they are immediately offended, even if you don't mean to offend anybody. Now, the things that I talk about on my videos about autistic individuals, kids or adults, it's not to shame people, or it's not to call people out. That's not my aim with these videos at all. It is just to make people aware, because sometimes you've got to become passionate, even angry about some things. And I was thinking today when I was driving home from my son's school, Matthew, that when a person is blind, or a person is deaf, or they are in a wheelchair, in other words, a child, let's, for the example that I want to use, say it's a child that's got cerebral palsy, maybe severe cerebral palsy, maybe deaf as well, and have autism, because some kids have more than one disability. And I understand that is nothing to be compared to autism, but you know what I would like people to see, how silly it is, how unfair it is to shame autistic kids for their behavior. You can see Matthew sitting with his iPad right there. Matthew, say hello everyone. Give a wave. No, he's just come from school, so he's normally tired and he needs some time to just unwind and relax and have a snack, and then then he's his old self. He works very hard every day to get things done and to, I suppose, learn the things that neurotypical kids learn. So what I'm saying is this: if a person is blind or deaf or in a wheelchair, then people, how does that child get accommodated or helped? When a child is blind, they can go to the school for the blind, they get braille, they get taught braille, they get to learn skills to cope with them being blind, life skills that they really need to survive. When children are deaf, they can go to the school for the deaf, or they can be in a special needs school. They can get hearing aids, implants. They've got struggles of their own. But when a child's in a wheelchair or they've got cerebral palsy, they might have certain garments that they can wear to strengthen their muscles. They can have the wheelchair for the times that they are really too tired to move around. They get therapy as well. But nobody that I've ever seen has shamed a blind or a deaf or a child with cerebral palsy. Nobody says to that child, stop being deaf, stop being blind, stop having cerebral palsy. I want you to understand, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not saying that those disabilities are really, really serious disabilities and they need special attention. They need compassion, special treatment. I agree with all of that. But let me tell you something. So does autistic kids. They also need compassion. They also need tools to be able to do the things neurotypical things do. They might not be blind, they might not be deaf, they might not be in a wheelchair, but they also have challenges. How is it in our society that they get shamed for their behavior? They get put in time out, or they get frustrated to the point where they must be restrained. They get shamed for making funny noises. Everything is not available. Everything is unacceptable. They have to learn constantly, daily, to act different from the way they were born, different from the way they are. And I'm sorry if I come across as being angry. Sometimes I really feel angry about this because I see it so often.
Mom.
Hi, Matthew.
I just asked
You stubbed your toe?
ow, make my boo better now.
That is an awesome song you're singing.
I hurt my toe.
Well done. So yes, he is now reenacting a nursery rhyme that he's listening to. So, I mean, there's certain behavior that really is unacceptable. I've worked, and I will make videos, I've worked with Matthew on some behaviors that I felt he could work on and could be better at. But never ever did I expect him to be normal. This is basically what is happening in our society. Kids like Matthew that are autistic, even adults that are autistic, people disregard their feelings. They disrespect their intellect. Autistic does not mean dumb. Autistic does not mean I have no potential. Autistic means I think and learn different from another person. In a way, you can say it's a disability. All that I'm saying is this. We need to speak up about these things. We need to speak up for the acceptance of our kids, just as they are. It is okay to learn social skills. It is okay to learn speech and to learn writing, fine motor skills, like I said. My son goes for therapy. It is good for him to go for therapy. But in general, in reality, his brain is just different from a neurotypical person. It does not mean he's less of a person, but I just think it's unfair in society that people are putting autistic kids under a magnifying glass and basically evaluating their behavior all day. What if they do something out of the ordinary? It's a behavior problem. Let's call in the behavior specialist to deal with your problem child. I've seen this, and it is frustrating me because often, especially because I spend a lot of time with Matthew and I am around autistic kids often, I can see what is going on in their world. They are not naughty or disobedient. They don't take more chances to get away with things than neurotypical kids. Sometimes they do, but what I'm saying is we must stand up for our autistic kids. That people will stop amplifying their behavior just because they are labeled, they've been diagnosed with autism, does not mean that they can change who they are. It doesn't mean it's now you are diagnosed with autism, right, let's start you on this program, on these classes and therapy to change you to be more like a neurotypical person. I'm all for these kids being taken out in public, fitting in society. I'm all for that. I do take Matthew out. I do things with him in public places. But it's not about that. You and I know that. It's about people really accepting our kids just as they are and not shaming them. Starting to accept that this is how they are. Nobody, like I said, nobody discriminates against a blind or paralyzed or a disabled person or child or a deaf child. I'm saying this with the greatest of respect. I know there's no comparison between a disability like a physical disability and what Matthew has, autism. But it does not mean just because your child is worse that sympathy or empathy or acceptance must be taken away from kids with autism just because they don't have a visible disability. That's what I'm trying to say. And I hope you are with me on this, and we are going to start being proud of our autistic kids and loving them and showing the world this is who they are. They cannot change just because the world don't accept them. You and I need to stand stand in the gap between them and the society and speak up for their rights till they are old enough to speak up for themselves. Some of them might not be able to verbally communicate, but we've got technology. There's more and more people who can communicate with the AIC apps, and Matthew is going to be one of them soon. I hope it's going to improve his speech as well. But thank you for listening to me, and I hope when you see this video, you share it with your friends with autistic kids, and you encourage other autistic parents in your community to not be ashamed of their kids. I'll tell you, there was a time, and I'll talk about this, I'll talk about family and spouses, that people were avoiding me and Matthew and, making suggestions that we do other things and go other places while our family has public outings. But I don't listen to that, because Matthew is my child. Like any of my other 3 kids, I'm as proud of them as I am of them. And I thank you for listening. Let's not forget. It's okay. Autism awareness, it's all good. We've got to promote autism acceptance. Stop treating these kids like there's something wrong with them, like they are sick and must be cured. Yes, I believe in miracles. Yes, I pray for Matthew that he would overcome his challenges mentally, emotionally, physically. Yes, I do believe he is getting better. I do believe he will make progress and he'll have a successful teenage and adult life. I don't listen to the naysayers. But what I'm saying is, until our kids get there. We need for people to know this is who they are. It's not their fault. So stop trying to punish them by trying to force them into a mold to look and appear normal. It's not fair to them. Thank you.